Hello everyone, I'm Marina and did Sakramel school. With an appearance of dual forms, nail techs divided into two camps. Some say that dual forms are fast, convenient, perfect for beginners who don't know how to set up paper ones. And the second camp, the techs who have learned to set up the paper forms in 1 minute for one nail. They don't accept the dual ones. So which of the techniques is better and prettier, faster and easier? In this video, I suggest performing an experiment and checking how much time will each method take, and evaluate the results. It will be really exciting. Let's get into it. There is no coverage on my model's nails. We will sculpt one hand with paper forms and another one with dual ones. I need to prepare the nail plate first. It means that we will polish it, shape the free edge, lift up the cuticle, and clean out all the pterygium. I have prepared all the necessary products and materials that we will need for modeling. My dual forms are transparent, plastic ones. They easily get unstuck just in case you set it up wrong. And on the other hand, almond-shaped dual forms. As a sculpting material, I will be using Acrygel from Emmy. Such a nice pinky peach shade. Very natural. A special liquid for aligning Acrygel, a cup, and also a special brush. A dehydrator to dry the nail plate, an acid-free primer, gel polish base coat. What's more, I will use some additional tools, reverse tweezers to tighten the arch, and metal pins for fixing it. I push the cuticle with an orange stick, opening its pocket. I clean out the pterygium using a flame drill bit, 0.21 in diameter. My model has dry lateral folds, so I'm using a blue drill bit. Let's shape up the free edge. Find the gross point, which is located here, and start filing with it. Using a soft style of the file, I'm matting the surface in one direction. My task is to file the free edge symmetrically and make the entire surface matte so that no glossy areas remain. Prepared the cuticle for cutting, and now we can make a cut. You may also not cut the cuticle at this stage. You can do it after sculpting and filing the surface, if you are afraid to cut it. I usually prefer cutting the cuticle and not coming back to this step. Done with the manicure. Now dehydrate the nail plate. Carefully clean up all the dust from the lateral sinuses so that there are no material leaks. I place everything I need for sculpting with regular forms in front of me. I set a special timer so that you can see and we can check how long it will take to complete one hand. And start. At the same time, I start preparing the nail plate. This is a dehydrator, a drying agent. I always apply it when sculpting. It takes very little time to apply, a few seconds on all 5 nails. The next step is to use a primer for better bonding. You need to apply it carefully, without getting on the skin, with an almost dry brush, without layering, in order to avoid peeling later. Wait for the primer to dry a bit, and only then proceed with applying a base coat. I'm using a base for the gel polish system. You can also use a harder one, just whatever you wish. but make sure that the materials are compatible, that they go well together, so that there are no liftings. I apply the base in a thin layer, with rubbing moves, without any extra volume or alignment. Cure on the lamp for 30 seconds. In the meantime, I prepare some standard templates. I tear out the metal part from them in order not to waste time on it later. Thus, it will be easier to set up the form on the model's nails and try it on. The first step is to curl the template, forming an arch. And setting it up on the nail, I check whether I need to cut it deeper. I cut out a small piece and set the form on the nail for shaping almonds. And at the same time, on the other hand, I have already started preparing the dual forms. Trying them on, you need to select the form individually for each nail. Sometimes one form can fit index, middle, and ring fingers, but this is another case. I will use different ones. In addition, I cut the form in the cuticle area so that the material could not leak there. I mark the desired length and prepare all 5 dual forms straight away. For this time, I have already managed to set up one plastic form and I'm trying on the next one. In general, this process takes me the same amount of time, setting up the form on one hand and trying on the dual form on the other one. Since we're shaping almonds, I stick the form into a triangle and set it up straight or slightly downward, based on the type of the nail plate growth. I fix the lower ears and squeeze the shape very well. As a material, I have chosen acrygel, because it won't leak anywhere, and you can lay it out on several nails at once. Since the nails are not too long, you can use just one drop. Put it like this in order to sculpt the entire nail. It will take very little time. On the other hand, I also put acrygel in the dual form, the same color so that the difference is not noticeable, and spread it over the form. Always do it according to the following rules: a little material under the cuticle and more in the central part. There is a small amount at the tip. It should be about 1 mm thick. I set up the form on the nail, turn it over, make sure to smooth out all the excess on both sides, not pulling it down to lengthen the nail, but on the sides, so that not to spend time on filing later. I sand it to cure for 30 seconds. Then I squeeze the nail, remove the dual form, set up a clip, and send it to cure. And while the nail is curing, I continue to lay out the material on the next form, using the conveyor method. I cured the nail on the right hand. Now I press and remove the form. For extra fixation, I set up the clip with its ears down, so as not to press it too much, which is practically not required here, because my model's nails are not very wide. 2 out of 5 nails are done, and I continue setting up the forms and fitting some for the rest of the nails. If you work with dual forms, it doesn't mean that you can randomly apply the material. Any length, any shape. Therefore, the more precisely you lay out the material on the dual form, the less you will have to file it in the future, with cutting out the material from the inside. There are many nuances with dual forms. You need to check how the form looks from the side view, see that everything is correct, smooth it out from the inside, and make sure there are no leaks near the cuticle. So there are many nuances, especially in laying out the material. Here you need to know them all. But there are not fewer of them when it comes to regular forms. The angle of setting, the depth of the smile line, where to make cuts, so you can't do without knowledge here. And if you have it, if you have practiced enough, then it will be equally easy and quick for you to set up both regular and dual forms. Continue setting up the forms, laying out the material, curing, and pressing. Polymerization time will also depend on the layer thickness and color pigmentation. There are such materials that simply won't cure in such a layer, staying damp from the inside. Therefore, before putting the material on the nail, make sure to test it. Do a cure test. Put a small amount of the material on a glossy surface, cure it, remove it and see if there is stickiness on the bottom. If it is cured inside, it's very important. We are almost done with 4 nails. On the hand with the dual forms, we go a bit slower with laying out the material, because there are some nuances. We need to clean it up around the cuticle and file from the inside. The better I do this step, the less I have to file with a carbide drill bit later. On the hand with the dual forms, I take them off, press them, reset the clips, and send them to cure for 1 to 2 minutes, depending on the acrygel. You can always find out the polymerization time from the manufacturer or read it on the bottle. With dual forms, after smoothing out the inner surface, I turn the finger over and check if the form is set up correctly, so that there are no leaks, and only once I've checked it, I can send it to cure. I proceed with the nails on the thumbs. For them, we always take a larger drop. We do the layout according to the sculpting rules. But in the dual forms, unfortunately, I could not find the right size for the thumb, and I had to take the largest form of size O. But it also turned out to be not as wide as needed. So I decided that when smoothing the material from the inside, I will build up the lower walls, barely touching them. With regular shape, there is no such problem. No matter how wide the nail is, very narrow, very wide, you can set it up to any nail. When laying out the acrygel, it's important to press it very well in the cuticle area, so that there are no leaks. The tacks often take too much liquid on the brush, making the material more liquid. It loses its properties, and as a result, it peels off. So my brush is slightly wet, a little moistened, and no product is dripping from it. With dual forms on the thumb, I had to add some material from the inside. Just because of its size, the form was still bouncing from the nail, creating a small air pocket. Cured? Now remove the tacky layer. In the dual forms, it's important to remove the tacky layer from the inside. There is almost none of it from the top, only in the cuticle area. Now I'm filing it, shaping the nails into almonds. I'm lucky that the dual forms are already almond shaped, and I don't have to file much. But still, I like to shape the tip with a file to the center, so that the nail is thinner at the tip. On the right hand, we remove the tacky layer from the top. Here, on the contrary, there is none of it from the inside. By the same principle, I proceed with filing. As if filing natural nails, I give them a shape, shaping the tip, and then go over the entire surface to smooth it out. I laid out the acrygel well on the surface, so I only need to file it a little. In general, filing sculpted nails should not take you more than 20 minutes on all 10 nails. If you are filing longer, then most likely you don't have a clear filing scheme on your head. A high-speed scheme that will help you not to waste time making all these extra moves. Now this stage is very interesting. We laid out the nails, started filing on both hands, but on the hand with the dual forms, there was an unpleasant surprise, an air pocket. Unfortunately, I had to spend some time filing it out. It's okay, we will fill this area with acrygel. In addition, with a carbide drill bit, I need to go along the cuticle, removing a layering from the material, making a smooth transition to the natural nail so that there are no peels and liftings. On the hand with the dual forms, I only file out the area near the cuticle, and on the right hand with the regular ones, I'm already done with filing, and now I go over the surface with a soft buffer. Dehydrating, removing all the dust. We're so close to the finishing line. And stop. Hooray! We're done with the right hand. It took us 29 minutes 55 seconds, but I continue working with the left one. I remember about the incident with an air pocket on the thumb, so I fill it in with acrygel and spread it out with a brush. What's more, there is not enough material on the right wall. And so that the nail could not break, I'm adding more material there too. It's a pity that I did not have other dual forms in store. In this case, I would have taken the form from another set, of a wider size. Removing the tacky layer and also going through the surface with a file. After filing, buff the surface so that there are no lines from filing. And we will file it out from the inside. Yes, don't forget about this step. Everything should look beautiful from the inside as well. It is like cross-stitching. It should be beautiful not only from the top, but from the back too. I smoothed it out quite nicely, but nevertheless there are tiny leaks near the lateral fold, so I filed them out with a drill bit. We're done! I thoroughly dehydrate, remove all the dust, and we are ready to press stop. And stop. We got it in 38 minutes 39 seconds. Let's take a look at the result. I didn't compare the lengths, so the nails on the left hand turned out to be longer. But there was no task of making the extension identical on both hands, because it is clear that the sculpting style is different. It took me less time to sculpt with plastic forms than with dual ones. But you can decide it for yourself. Write in the comments which of the options you like more. Give a thumbs up if you like this transformation. I wish you all success in your work. Good luck! Bye bye!